Hi everybody, my name is Brady and I'm a 19th century American historian, and we're back with another React video, and today we're going to be doing more Hamilton. We have the story of tonight, the reprise, not the original. I looked at the lyrics of the other one and there really isn't anything to go for. It's a very good standalone song, and if I was reacting just for the sake of the music, it might make a good video, but I'm talking more about the history and stuff behind it, so it's not going to make a very good video. So we're skipping to this version of the song instead, which I'm far more excited about anyway. So I don't think there's any reason why I should waste any more time. Let's get it started. Oh, that was loud. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare you.
I may not live to see our glory. I may not live to see our glory. But I've seen wonders great and small. I've seen wonders great and small. 'Cause if the tomcat can get married, if Alexander can get married, there's hope for our ass after all.
I really like this so far. You read some of the interactions between Alexander and his friends, especially when they're younger. They're kind of bros. You think of people from a different time as being more proper and stuff, but if you look into some of the personal correspondence, it can be very playful. It can be raunchy. They mess with each other. They're having fun. They're young people. So I really like the attitude of this song, and I think it reminds us that these are people, and they're all drunk, and that's funny. Oh yeah, the Tomcat line, I forgot to say this. There was another song that mentioned the Martha Washington naming the feral Tomcat after Alexander Hamilton, and since then, it has been brought to my attention that a lot of the sources on that are a little bit sketchy. So now I'm not even sure. I've looked back and I can't really find anybody that I consider all that reliable who can confirm that story. So I'm going to retract the statement where I agreed with Lin-Manuel Miranda where he says that's true, because I don't know actually how true that is. You go to a lot of historians who will quote that story, but that might be misinformation that's been passed down for a long time. And this is news to me. So I'm going to retract that for now until I find a source that satisfactorily confirms that. So, yeah, let's keep going.
Raise a glass to freedom. Hey! Something you will never see again. No matter what she tells you, let's have another round tonight. Raise a glass to the four of us, to the newly not poor of us. We'll tell the story of tonight. Let's have another round.
So the newly not poor of us. That's a very good line. He's marrying into a family that is definitely more well off than him. He has no family ties to wealth anymore. If you go back in his family tree maybe a little bit, but he is so firmly disconnected from that side of his family that there's really nothing for him. So marrying into the Schuyler family is huge for him. Even though Philip Schuyler, his fortune is going to dwindle a little bit, it's going to be an interesting relationship between the two of them. Hamilton, while he will benefit from the prestige of Schuyler, Hamilton, I think, is going to be very important in helping to build back the Schuyler fortune. And we will get into that as we get into a lot of the Reynolds pamphlet stuff, honestly. That's kind of where that conversation is more appropriate to be had. So let's continue down this path. I'm really liking this so far. This sounds different. I know I've heard this song played before, and this sounds different from the original soundtrack. Maybe this is from a live performance or something. I'm not sure.
It isn't Aaron Burr. Sir? I didn't think that you would make it. To be sure. I came to say congratulations. Spit a verse, Burr. I see the whole gang is here. You are the worst, Burr. Ignore them. Congrats to you, Lieutenant Colonel. I wish I had your command instead of manning George's journal. Nope.
That last line was very good there. That is, of course, telling the story of Alexander wanting a military command again. And this is just one of those things that it gets repetitive after a while because they really hammer it in throughout the musical. But it must never be forgotten that Alexander is not satisfied, wink, wink, with what is, I guess in reality, a much better position for him than a military command. Like, it would be great and all if Alexander could be a general, but he's not going to be a general during this war. It's just not his time yet. So what is he going to do? Be a colonel or be the aide-de-camp to Washington? One has connections with Washington. One, there's a lot of colonels out there. And a lot of them are not going to go super far. The fact is, the colonel position, while it's a good position, what Hamilton has right now is so unique. And it's frustrating, honestly, reading about how he was never happy with that, because that seems so perfect. He just wanted military honor, and like it makes me mad because him and I clearly would think so differently. I would love Hamilton's position here.
No, you don't. Yes, I do. Now be sensible. From what I hear, you've made yourself indispensable.
Indispensable. That's a perfect word for what Hamilton was. I've probably talked about, I've lost track of what I've talked about and what I haven't, but I'll say it again. Hamilton, he is not the only aide that Washington has. Having to lead so many people at one time, Washington naturally is going to have a lot of aides. And when they end up writing letters for him or whatever, they'll probably have to run it across George's desk. He'll peruse it real quick and be like, fix this or whatever, or he'll give his signature and send it out or something like that. In the case of Hamilton, he was so trustworthy. It seems that he didn't even really have to run things by George as often. Washington just didn't really need to worry about Hamilton because he was just that darn efficient. So indispensable is a great word to describe what Hamilton was. And Washington really didn't want to lose him. That sort of efficiency doesn't come by very often. There's no aides measured up to him. Let me go back a little.
Yes, I do. Now be sensible. From what I hear, you've made yourself indispensable. Well, I heard you got a special someone on the side.
Ooh.
Is that so? Trying to hide. I should go. No, these guys should go. What? Oh my God, leave us alone, man. It's all right, Burr. I wish you brought this girl with you tonight, Burr.
Okay, can I go back just a little bit here? Oh, this is great. Because we're talking about an affair that Burr is carrying on. Well, it's an affair. Burr is carrying on with a married woman, and we're gonna get to that line, the one line. I remember it hitting so well when I was able to see the show live. It hits everybody the same way, and it's so awesome. But this is Burr's reputation right now. People learn about this affair. It becomes a little bit public, and I guess he and Hamilton are going to have a lot in common, I suppose. These two have more in common than the musical lets on sometimes. Well, the thing is, when it's hard to say how deep Hamilton and Burr's relationship was during the war. There's a lot of people he's going to interact with. They're definitely going to be aware of each other. That's definitely a thing. I feel like it's likely they became closer after the war when they're studying law together. They end up studying both in the Schuyler Law Library. He had a lot of books, and Burr was allowed to work with them. And at the time, Burr is kind of surrounded with a little bit of scandal over this affair. Theodosia's husband's going to die in, I think 1781 or something like that. So they were able to sort that one out. Isn't that fortunate? But yeah, this is... I love... let me go to this next part.
It's all right, Burr. I wish you brought this girl with you tonight, Burr. You're very kind, but I'm afraid it's unlawful, sir. What do you mean? She's married. I see. She's married to a British officer. Oh, shit.
Okay. First of all, unlawful, he's not just, using fancy language there. adultery is actually illegal in many of the states at this time. I don't know if it's universally illegal. I'd have to do a little research on that, but I believe it is actually unlawful in this case. I like that beginning part where it has Hamilton be like, I wish you brought this girl with you tonight, like showing Burr some like genuine warmth. And I think the musical always builds up this constant tension between the two, and I think it's there. I think they're both competitive in a sense, and we'll always see each other as rivals in a lot of ways, especially since they get into the same business. They both get into the law. They both get into politics. Of course they're going to be rivals. One author, I'm trying to remember who said this, but recently I read a book that featured the two of them, and they were described as the worst of friends and best of enemies. And I really love that line. They were, in a sense, friends. Yeah, things got rough later on, but it's not like it was always that way. It didn't have to go that way. They were getting along up until really close up until the end. They were working on a legal case together, like right before the election of 1800, I believe. These two are willing to work with one another, and they although strategically are very different. I think it's nice to acknowledge that they're humans. They had genuine feelings for each other. Don't go crazy with that. I know. Feelings of friendship. I gotta be careful what I say with this fandom. I've learned this. I know this now. Let's continue.
Congrats again, Alexander. Smile more.
Aww.
I'll see you on the other side of the war. I will never understand you. If you love this woman, go get her. What are you waiting for? I'll see you on the other side of the war. I'll see you on the other side of the war.
Maybe that line, if you love this woman, go get her thing, maybe it's... I'm thinking about that. Maybe that's a reference to the fact that the guy dies. Burr doesn't just sort this out. It kind of gets sorted out for him. I don't know. That might be reading too much into it. I'm not sure how much thought was put into that part. That was really good, though. Let me just go back for just a second. I just want to go back 10 seconds just to make sure I didn't miss any details.
What are you waiting for?
No.
If you love this woman, I will never understand you. If you love this woman, go get her. What are you waiting for? I'll see you on the other side of the war. I'll see you on the other side of the war.
And they will see each other on the other side of the war. In the Schuyler Law Library, in the courtroom, and eventually in politics. Yeah, that was cool. That line, "I will never understand you," that rings so true. Politically, they end up going different ways, and at first, that's just kind of something they accept in one another. That, like, I'm sure Hamilton tries to persuade him to his way of thinking. Of course, they've definitely had a conversation or two. Those two could probably talk politics with the best of them. But yeah, Hamilton was never able to get Burr to his way of thinking. And I guess Hamilton was probably the one to initiate any sort of discussion like that, since he was very assertive about his way of thinking. Yeah, I think that's about it. This was a rather short song, but it packs a little bit in there, especially once you get past the intro where it's just like, sorry after night, and once you get past that stuff and Burr enters the scene, there's actually a lot to unpack there. So that was fun. I really enjoyed that one. I'm going to be continuing this, of course. I don't know when the next one's going to be, probably in the next 2 weeks. I try to do one at least once every 2 weeks. Yeah, keeping them coming. If you like this video, subscribe for more, and I'll see you on the other side of the American presidential election. Oh, shoot, this is coming out the day after. Ooh, I wonder how it's going. Don't tell me. I don't want to know. All right, see you later, guys. Bye.